What?
What was the early discussions you and Quick had before you guys formed a bond and he
Oh,
trusted
before
you?
Bond, check out my demo. He had a nice little demo, which a couple little good cuts, and then I once we connected and bonded, we did a record. I paired him with AMG, and they did a song. What was that name of that song? Ended up on the. I forgot the. I did so many records. I forgot the name of these records,
Right.
but tear it off, tear it off. Yeah, that
Ah,
was the song. Yeah, I think it ended up on Quick's album. It was like a James Brown sample, and it didn't really do too much of nothing. But we that's when we start working heavenly, hardly. I mean, and then I have a studio at my house. I had a studio at my house, and I started buying a bunch of different equipment, and we start working out of my house, putting stuff together. And we put together Tonight. We put together Quick's album. Then, in the process of working on the Quick album, he brought on Second to None, High C, and we started working on their albums simultaneous with Quick album and AMG's album.
okay. Everybody pretty much was signed to Profile. Were you around before the Profile deal?
No, I created the Profile deal.
Talk a little bit about bringing those guys over to Profile.
Well, originally I tried to take them to Priority,
Mm.
and Brian Turner, which was the head of Priority, is like, "Nah, I got an original. I don't want a fake." He called Quick a fake Easy E. So it's like he didn't want it. He didn't want to do the record, the album, because I got NWA. I got the real guys from Compton. Okay. So I was able to contact Profile, uh, and about took about a week to get him a deal at Profile. You know, then in the process of getting his deal and working on his album, I was trying to get AMG, Bitch Better Have My Money, signed to Profile too. I was trying to get everybody. I was trying to run everybody through that door.
Right.
And Profile like, I don't know. So I was able to get him on Select Records, which was Kid and Play's label. They had a bunch of
Chuck Rock.
Chuck Rock. Yeah. So I was able to maneuver and get him on that label. And then I came back to Profile with Second to None, and they were eager to sign them. They signed them. So it was great. And then we went on tour. That process was fun. And
Do you remember coming here to Muncie, Indiana early on?
no.
Yeah, that was like their early promo runs. It was just Quick and Second to None. So I'm not sure if you were around at that time, but
I was around, but I'm not sure if I went out because I I went out on the first couple of dates, and then I kind of backed off and sent somebody else out there.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the creative process for Quick is the Name. What do you remember witnessing as far as Quick in the studio?
The process was cool. It was great. It was a lot of long nights. It's like these guys, like they like to record after midnight. It's like 12 o'clock. I'm ready to go to bed. They're ready to get started right then. The creative process was fun. It was fun because like we spent a whole day trying to go through records, trying to find the perfect break beat, the perfect sample to use, and try to make it make sense. Try to give it a feeling.
Right. When that album finally dropped, where did you see the momentum as far as the singles?
Up in the Bay, the first single on Quick was "Born and Raised in Compton." And we went the first. I never can forget the first show was up in San Francisco. It was at a club called. It was up in Daly City. It was called the Jam Zone. I think it was the Jam Zone, and it was just incredible because when I first took Quik out, I took Second and I took AMG out, and they were all gonna put a show they was all into the show, and they were all able to at least do one of their songs. So I remember this great. It was like this first Second to None came out, then AMG came out right behind it, and then Quik would come out and do a whole set. Like it was all together. But I remember this when Quik came out, stage got rushed by a bunch of women. You would have thought he was Michael Jackson or they were the Beatles, man. They chased us out the club after 2 songs. Had to jump in the limo and get out of Dodge.
Right. So all of those albums you say were created around the same time?
It was all created around the same time, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's first album was created, like we started working on Quik's album, and then once we got halfway finished with his album, then just start working. It was just like a factory. Every day, that was our journey every day, to at least do 1 or 2 songs.
Right.
Or create or formulate a song, start a new song.
Right. How was it working with Second to None?
Second to None was cool. They were cool. Second to None was cool, but their career really depended on Quik, and they didn't really. I could tell they really didn't like that. Everybody really want to stand on their own, but you're only great as the people you have around you. So they all needed each other, but once you start getting that fame, and you want that fame's a hell of a drug, Once you get that little taste of fame, it just destroys everybody. As you can see what's going on now. Everybody's mad at each other, everybody's telling everybody this is crazy. I was like, wow, Cat, really?
Right.
Did you really need to tell us that? So,
side note, did you watch the whole 3-hour interview?
Yes. Yes. And it's like I'm doing movie and television type stuff now, so I know a lot of that stuff that he was talking about. A lot of that stuff is true facts.
Right.
But did you really need to tell us?
Right.
We know Steve Harvey stole your jokes. Mark Curry show,
Right.
But that's just that television is just like records. You notice how one artist will sound like something, and next thing you know, you got 10 artists that sound the same.
Right.
Just like okay. First it was Nicki. I know first it was Lil' Kim, then Nicki, then it was Cardi B. Now you got Lotto, and they're all basically the same burlesque dancers.
Oh yeah, just took the blueprint and ran with it.
Exactly, but it's company's fault, because once something becomes successful, then they want to run with it and they want to throw everything on that same lane.
Right.
It's like right now, to get a deal, first thing the record company asks you, well, how many followers do you have? What that to do anything about my talent?
Right.
I'm creating something from scratch.
Right.
That's why you have all these unsuccessful artists that sign to labels, because the labels are basing it off of social media. Social media is one big fat lie.
Oh yeah, smoke and mirrors.
Well, entertainment is always smoke and mirrors, but it's a bigger mirror now.
Right, for sure.
It's crazy.
Speaking of labels, did Profile pretty much give you guys creative process, creative control throughout each album?
Yeah, Profile was great. Profile was great, but I tell you, my best experience was when I'm dealing with Def Jam, the early Def Jam. I don't know what they got going on now, but the early Def Jam, was great, because they let you do what you do.
Okay.
And if you got some creative ideas, they'll run with it.
Right. talk a little bit about AMG and the High C in studios. What was their creative process like?
AMG's like my brother. You know, me and AMG connected when he was 19, and he's very creative. Realistically, I'm had to throw him under the bus. If he wasn't lazy, he would be a lot bigger than he is.
Yeah, because he kind of, that album was big, and it's like we kind of didn't hear from him after that till years later.
Right. His process. He's very creative and he's very forward thinking. You know, I'm telling you, he predicted a couple of things about hip hop like 5-6 years before it even happened. I remember one year, like 5 years before Kanye came out, he said, watch this, the next big rapper is going to come out in a mascot suit. I was like, dude, you crazy. And that was Kanye's College Dropout. Came out in a mascot suit. He said, eventually what's going to happen to hip hop is it's not going to be an audience. Everybody's going to be on stage. And you go to a concert now, it means more people on stage than in the audience.
Right.
You see.
Facts.
So,
So what was the High C like in the studio?
My interaction with High C was limited because he had a producer named Tony A.
Yeah.
And Tony A, they'd come through and we cut songs, but we really didn't cut a whole lot together. We didn't really work a lot together in the studio.
Right.
We just we're adding him on the first album, second album, first Quik album, and second the Nuns album, and they did some stuff on his album. But he was signed to another company. He was he was signed to Disney of all places.
Okay.
But Disney wanted to get into the rap game, but they didn't want people to know.
Right.
So they did like a fake name, and they went so far as to cover up that they were, they wasn't doing gangster rap or nothing like that. They went far as had a fake P.O. box to mail information if you had any questions about High C. They didn't want none of that smoke coming back to Disney. Which is it's kind of tricky.
Right.